Okie dokie. So, I'm gonna go over the pterygopalatine fossa. In last night's video that I made, I drew it in this view, but I'm also gonna draw it in another view. So, in this view, if we go through this pterygomaxillary fissure, there was that other ball. That's the infratemporal fossa. And if we go through the sphenopalatine foramen, we're in the other ball, which was the nasal cavity. Okay, so I'm just trying to orient you to where we're at. So here we're looking anteriorly. It would be as if this back wall was posterior. And in this image, we're looking laterally, so this wall would be the medial portion of that wall. So I tried to draw pictures on both. So we'll do the sphenopalatine. This is the one that goes through to the nasal cavity. So here you can see there's just a circle that goes through that medial wall, and then there's obviously the one that just comes directly over. So we have the nasopalatine and sphenopalatine artery, nerve, and vein. We know that that is how it travels down to the incisive fossa. We also have the pterygopalatine ganglion, small ascending fibers throughout it. The next one is the inferior orbital fissure. It's not going to be on the anterior view, right? Because that's pretty much what we're looking through that hole. But this lateral view, we can see it. So this guy has zygomatic V2, infraorbital artery, nerve, and vein. The inferior ophthalmic vein, and the small branches of the pterygopalatine ganglion. So that's same thing as this last one. Moving on. Let's do this one. The pterygomaxillary fissure. Obviously, it's not going to be viewed in this image, the lateral view, because that's what we're looking through. We're looking laterally through it. But here you can see it. So it has the PSA, artery, nerve, and vein of V2. It has the third part of the maxillary artery, and then branches of the pterygoid plexus. So if we were, again, to go through this door, we'd end up in the infratemporal fossa. That's just how the door would go. This is called the doorway in her lectures. And so then on the posterior portion of this pterygopalatine fossa, we have three foramen. One of them is the foramen rotundum, and we already know that the maxillary nerve V2 runs through it. So you can see here, and then on the posterior, just on the back wall. And then we have the pterygoid canal, which is also the Vidian nerve. So this nerve of the pterygoid canal and the artery of the pterygoid canal, it comes through it. And then lastly, we have the pseudovaginal canal, or the pharyngeal. She said that she would refer to both names. So just make sure that you know that. And this is this bottom one down here. So the very last thing, on this inferior wall, the lower wall, we have here and here, you can see, we have the palatine canal, and so it goes to the descending, and technically then it goes to the greater and lesser, it splits. So we have the artery, nerve, and vein. So that's the pterygopalatine fossa.